Hello and welcome back to another episode, and I'm a bit needy today actually. I'm really going to need your advice again, and a big thank you for all those that helped last time, like I did say. And because you're so good at helping me, I really need your help again. But before we get into that, I want to do a little bit of a public service announcement. I want to do a little bit of a serious episode in this respect. I know I've been regaling you with my stories of Idiot Abroad and discussing about all the issues and all the stupid things I do, primarily in airports for some reason. It's always involving Starbucks, but that's for another time. If you haven't heard about those stories, go back a couple of episodes. You can probably catch up from there. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50,000 by the end of the week. I hear a lot of people say that, and I'm currently about 2,000 subs, so I don't have my chances. But long story short, I need your help on this Mac. So it's a Apple Macintosh LC575. So the purpose of this episode, and probably the thumbnail if you clicked on this episode, is primarily because I went and picked this up last night. To say that it was probably the most unsettling experience I've had in a very long time. Well, at least as long as Diary of a Flipper asked us in a private chat if he should wear pants in one of his thumbnails. So, so probably a bit scared since then. Long story short, I was doing some listings for the Warhammer books we talked about last time, and checked Facebook Marketplace, and this popped up, literally popped up, and it said on Facebook Marketplace 3 minutes ago, and it was in Canberra, which is fantastic. They actually had it listed for $30. So I don't know if I've mentioned here on the videos before, but definitely speaking to a few resellers, probably on Instagram as well, is I've actually picked up vintage Macintoshes before around that $30 to $50 mark, and I just broke it. Don't worry, it's supposed to like that. Around about that $30 to $50 mark, and then flip them quite quickly for about $250, $300, $350. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely that kind of return on investment. So I reached out to the seller. I said, hey, look, is this available? Yes, it's available. So cool, no worries. Can I pick up tomorrow morning, which would have been this morning? Keep in mind, this is about 9:30 last night when I was talking to this guy. He goes, oh no, you can come out now if you like. That should have been my first red flag. No shade to this guy. Yeah, obviously it's just my experiences, probably trying to transfer them across to you just to give you a bit more situational awareness, especially if you're coming new to the reselling space or you are picking things up from a Facebook Marketplace perspective. One, be safe about it. Don't go after dark. Go to public areas if you have. I have had some people reach out to me on eBay recently with brand new accounts, asking if they can pick up things from here. I don't offer local pickup. I did mention maybe in a video last week that I had a person that constantly buys Skylanders off me, lives about 2 suburbs away. I actually dropped the parcel off at the post office, got the entry scan, let the post office know that this guy's going to come pick it up probably in an hour's time. That's as close to pickups that I get from me on eBay primarily. So drove out to this guy's house about half an hour away, middle of Canberra. Rock up. All the lights are off. And I'm like, oh, crap, did I get the right address? So I'm looking at my address, looking at the phone. Yep, definitely right address. Walk up the stairs, sensor light goes on. Cool, no worries. Knock on the door. The gentleman opens the door and pitch black inside. He's like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to pick up the computer. Oh, okay, what do you have there? And I was like, oh, it's the $30 that you want for the item. Because I'm thinking to myself, did I misread it? Was it supposed to be $300 for it? It's $30. He goes, oh, okay, because I had a $20 note and 2 5s. And a lot of people get freaked out when they see that. So anyway, he goes, I'll come in. It's inside. That was my second mistake. I shouldn't have got in. Everything in my stomach and my head was like, what are you doing? Don't go inside. Just basically say, hey, look, no, I'm happy to wait out here. I had the car running. It was quite an affluent suburb. Had the car running just to give the illusion that someone was in the car. He goes, oh, do you have someone in the car waiting for you? I was like, yeah, I do, actually. He's like, well, come in. And he was here talking to me. He said, hey, look, you look very familiar. Where do I know you from? So hopefully you're a reseller, you see this video. So I did mention that, hey, look, I'm in the military. Then we discussed a little bit of military stuff and all those different things. Got to the end of the conversation. He did say he was getting some more Macs in. Looking at the point, probably, what gave me him away to be a reseller, because he was saying he got from deceased estates and that he had more stock coming in. So that kind of gave me the impression that he was a reseller. And like I say, this man, at no point did he physical violence or was unruly or anything like this. It was just these series of events that kind of played out that I shouldn't have been putting myself into a situation where A, I wasn't comfortable, and B, it could have potentially turned out dangerous if this person was not as nice as this guy was last night. So it's nothing towards him, but like I say, it's just the series of events that played out made it a little bit eerie. So like I was saying, is don't go to Facebook Marketplace, don't go to Craigslist Marketplace pickups after dark. Do it in public areas, preferably. If you can get, generally, I'm, the biggest hypocrite in the world, right? So if someone will give me an address, I'll go to their house. I'll give them my address if they're doing Facebook Marketplace pickups. I'm thinking I'm going to start moving away to, we've got like a little shopping area about 300 meters away from where I live. It's probably going to be better to go there and do it from there. And I will probably do that from here, because majority of my stock here is here. Like, you see my storage shed last week. I am in the process of populating that. I have moved a lot of board games up there, but all my high dollar collectible stuff that I primarily want to package and post for myself, like, not that I don't trust my parents, but at least I'm responsible for it if I package it, post it. I'm going to start moving away to public areas and all those different things. Another Facebook Market story, which you'd think I would have learnt from this one. I went around this lady's house to pick up those Warhammer books that I discussed yesterday's video. Took my mum. I bundled her in the car, just took her in, and get to the lady's house, and she had a very unsettling aura around her, and I know it's just me being probably just a prick. She was overly nice. She spoke with a very eerie, ghosty voice. That's the only way to put it. If you're a fan of the 90s of the Extraordinary, and I will put a video up here in a second, there was a ghost story where the vanishing hitchhiker or the vanishing car. It's an urban legend where someone's hitchhiking down the road, a ghost car comes and picks them up, then they disappear and never see them again. Or the story is that they reach out to their family and then they found out that person died 12 months ago on that night, or whatever it works out to be. So we'll put a clip up.
I'll give you a ride.
What this lady sounded like, and she had a very similar voice to this. Once again, she invited me in the house to come get the books, which were sitting on her dining table. Probably not the best way to play it. So in future, like I was saying, is I'm going to politely decline, saying, "Hey, look, I'm more than happy to stay at here if you need." To grab them bit by bit by bit. Those books, there was about 25, 30 of those Warhammer books, so she would have had to do a couple of trips. I had to do a couple of trips. I couldn't carry them all in one way. But, like I was saying, is that be very, 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 very mindful of Facebook Marketplace pickups. Don't become a statistic. Don't become a casualty. The likelihood of it happening is minimal or non-existent. However, there's still a chance of it happening. I have put myself in a lot of situations I probably, in retrospect, probably weren't the best. So like I was saying, is that there's a lot of new resellers coming into the space. Every year we see an abundance of people coming in. Just be very mindful, especially if you have a social media presence. If you do have an Instagram account, or you want to do a YouTube video, or you're telling people on Facebook groups that you have lots and lots and lots and lots of stock, especially Facebook groups where your name's on the profile, then you're selling something on Marketplace. People put one and one together and say, hey, well, look, they're selling this Lego set for $20 on Facebook Marketplace, but I watched them on Facebook. I watched them on YouTube, or listened to them on Facebook, where they put photos of their stock in their inventory, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. You really, really, really need to take that into consideration before you start, broadcasting to the world what you've got in your inventory. But what we're going to do now, we're actually going to get to this computer. This computer, like I was saying, the gentleman that sold it to me last night was fantastic. No shade towards him. $30. I have seen some, and it's not working. He did mention he turned it on New Year's and it made a popping sound, which kind of makes me think it was the power supply that's probably gone, because I have had that in arcade machines previously, where they just make a pop. I replace a couple of parts, and or when I say I get something to come in. So they replace something in the power supply and it fixes it. But this thing weighs a literal ton. It is probably 15 kilos. It is the most awkward sized monitor computer thingamajiggy you've ever seen in your life. So it goes back a fair while. However, I could probably sell it for parts only for $400. There was one, and I will put a listing up in a second somewhere, where they sold it for $400 and they had the worst photos known to man on their eBay listing and the worst listing title. So yeah, Tech and Sports were quite distraught by that listing in its entirety. However, the reason why I want to ask you for your opinion is that I can send this bulking hulk of trash in one lot, or I can break it up. And I have been doing some research. The motherboard alone goes anywhere between $100 and $700. So I could potentially rip it all out, take the components out, take the motherboard out. As long as it's fine, I could sell it off for $300 or $400 Australian, untested. It'll probably get snapped up quite quickly. The difference between this and the motherboard, I could probably put the motherboard in one of these boxes up here, because it's probably around about this big, and it will probably cost me $10 to post. This thing, it's probably looking about, depending where it goes in Australia, anywhere up to, probably $50 to $150 to safely get it there. It's going to cost me probably $20 or $30 in package and supplies and all those different things to get it up to my level of safety to get it out the door. The reason why I'm kind of thinking stripping it down from parts, I paid $30 for it. If I paid $100 for it, $150 for it, knowing that I could probably get $400 for it, parts only, I'd probably just leave it as the box, charge the postage on top and go from there. However, $30, I can, what's the worst going to happen? I junk it, then I learn from my mistakes. I won't. How to strip them and go from there. If you are dealing with electronics, be very mindful that you need to have them discharged. I did electrocute myself on an arcade machine. Actually, the arcade machine, you can't see it here, but it's on the other side of my garage. One day I'll clean up the other side of the garage and I'll show you that side. And probably, I am looking at probably moving the bookcase down there across to the other side. Then I'll move the arcade machine on there, move Boris away as well. But going back to that, on the back of the arcade machine, when I pulled the backing off because I had to do some repairs or something along those lines, I can't remember what I was doing, but pulled the back of the arcade machine off. They use a very similar CRTV monitor to this, where when you strip this down, it'll have probably like a little very square circuit board on the back. What I did with the arcade machine, I actually touched that. When I got off the floor, I was about 4 meters away. So I don't know what that is in feet or yards. It is a long way to fly. I did feel like Ernest went to jail. There was a movie back in the 80s or 90s, and I can't remember Ernest, the actor's Ernest's name, but where he literally got done over by the electric chair and was shooting lightning bolts from his fingers. That's what I felt like. I actually felt like I was supercharged for the full day. It was a bit crazy. So I highly recommend, if you are playing with electronics, that arcade machine, which threw me across the room, hadn't been turned on for 3 months. So I went overseas, came back, decided to do some stuff, but some maintenance to get it, back ready to play. That's when it threw me. So it hadn't been turned on because my wife doesn't like playing it, so I definitely know that she wasn't playing it for 3 months. So it does hold charge for a very long time. Because old mate turned this on New Year's, it's probably going to have some sort of charge in it as well. So I will YouTube how to discharge it, I suppose is the best way, before I start playing around in there. I don't know how to do it personally. I can't remember. I preferably wouldn't use the back of your hand like I did, because you'll probably get airborne. If I do want to do that, I'll probably record it, because it's probably a good segue for one of my future videos. But I'd need to go onto YouTube to work out how to dismantle it, what the proper screwdrivers are, because they're not the Phillips heads or the flat heads. That, you know, it's a fancy looking star one. So I'll jump on one of the videos. There's the beauty of YouTube is that there's a lot of tutorial videos showing you how to do everything. If I typed in how to dismantle a Apple Macintosh LC575, there's probably a video where it's probably got like 16 views, and they'll tell you how to do it straight, you know, all the way through. So that's what I'll probably do. I'll take the parts off that are obviously, you know, worth money, and then I'll probably, you know, use a bit of recycling for the box. I'm not going to you know, sell the box from any capacity. I've got no interest. But anyway, that's enough for us today. Let me know in the comment sections below what I should do in regards to the computer. Should I sell it one big hunk a lot? I could probably put it back in Facebook Marketplace for $150 and make it a killing. Or I could strip it down, you know, probably get $300-400 off the motherboard, and whatever other components are in there are salvageable. I don't know. It's only by chance I typed in Apple Macintosh LC575 and all the motherboards came up, and they were going for quite good money for being untested and parts only. So I'm thinking at this stage that's probably the way I'm going to go. But do let me know, and I would be quite curious to see, make me feel better about myself. Let me know what your marketplace or your Craigslist horror stories are. If you've made any stupid decisions as to walking in people's houses and not thinking anything of it, and then being chased out by a knife or a big dog. Oh, and another thing, I actually happened 3 times this week that I walked into someone's house. When I picked up that Space Hulk game that I showed you a couple of days ago, he walked in 3 or 4 rooms. I had been there before, so I know he probably wasn't a serial killer unless he was kind of just, yeah, biding his time. But be very, very, very mindful. I can't stress that enough, because, yeah, I want as many people as I can watching this channel. So, yeah, don't go make stupid mistakes where, you know, you get yourself hurt or killed and then you can't watch my channels anymore. But anyway, thanks again. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.